to the Man of Recaps. It's The Walking Dead Season 3. After the barn was overrun last season, the gang is on the run. They're going to houses, just scavenging, eating cat food and stuff. Lori's pregnant with Rick's baby. Of course, it's probably Shane's, though. Anyway, Rick finds a prison nearby. He's like, that's got like fences and walls. That's a good place to live, probably. So they go in, they kill a bunch of zombies. They're like, hey, C-Block doesn't have too many dead bodies. We'll bunk down here. They're clearing out the inside of the prison, which still has a lot of zombies in it. But someone gets bit. Oh, it's Herschel. Now, to stop him from turning into a zombie, they have to cut off his leg real quick. But then there's a bunch of surviving prisoners in here. Herschel's fine, first of all. He's going to be okay. He just has to walk on crutches from now. And they talk to these other prisoners. It's like, yo, man, why are you busting into our prison? It's like, oh, there's a zombie apocalypse and stuff. Sorry, you didn't know. So Rick's like, okay, we'll help you clear out your own cell block to live in so we don't have to live together. But these people have no idea how to kill zombies. They don't even know that you have to use headshots. So they have a zombie killing lesson, and then they're doing it for real, clearing out a cell block. But then this guy's all like, yo, I'm going to take out Rick in the confusion. Rick's like, no way, man, you dead. And then this guy runs away too because he was in on it, but Rick like locks him out there with the zombies. And he's like, all right, other prisoners, are you in? It's like, no, man, we just want to live in peace here. So they get to go live in D Block. Andrea got separated from the group last season, but she was saved by this person with a katana and 2 zombies chained to her. What? Yes, her name is Michonne, and she's a pretty cool chick. Andrea's been sick or whatever, so she's been taking care of her. One day they find this crashed helicopter that these guys are investigating. Her little zombie friends act as camouflage. They're being too noisy, though, so she has to take them out. But they're found anyway by Merle, right? That's Daryl's brother, who was handcuffed to the roof in Season 1, had to cut his own hand off to escape, but now he's got this awesome knife hand, so that's pretty cool. He takes them back to Woodbury, this awesome town that's still alive because they put up some nice big walls. It's run by the governor. He's this tall, charismatic dude. He's like, cooks some breakfast. They're real friendly. Andrea's like, hey, this is an awesome place. Michonne's like, I don't trust you, though, white boy. And she might be right not to trust him because he talks to the helicopter pilot. He's like, oh, you got some National Guard friends over there? So he goes, he's like, hey, what's up? We're here to save you. From your bonds of mortality. I shoot you. Yeah, it's an ambush. He takes them all because he's a badass dude. And he's like, yeah, sorry, citizens, like the National Guard was dead, but we got their guns and stuff now, so that's cool. The governor's also got this nerdy friend who he's having an experiment on zombies because he's got a daughter who, unfortunately is a zombie, but he's still like hanging with her. He also has this cool man cave where he likes to watch dead zombie heads because, there's no TV anymore. So these other prisoners are like, hey, there's only 2 of us now. Can we just join the group? And Rick's like, hey, T-Dog, you're our black guy. Like, do you mind if we have another one? And T-Dog's like, no, that'd be cool. But just then some zombies get in and like T-Dog gets bit. That's too bad for him. And have to kill some zombies. The siren's going off, which is attracting a lot more. And it's like, man, we got to go down and turn off the siren. So they go down, they turn it off. They're ambushed by this other prisoner who got away before. But this guy ends up with the gun. He's like, yo, who do I choose? Boom, I'm taking out this guy. He's like, what's up, Rick? I want to join. You can call me New T-Dog. Meanwhile, Lori and Carl escape this way, but it's like, uh-oh, baby's coming right now. So she's trying to have a baby, but like she's like, oh man, you're gonna have to C-section me. Maggie's like, I really don't know how to do this. I guess I just like cut the baby out. And so that's pretty painful, but it works. Unfortunately, though, Lori does die, so Carl has to shoot his mom in the head to make sure she doesn't come back as a zombie, a little scarring. So they're like, hey, Rick, congrats on your baby. Sorry about your wife, though. So he's like all super sad, and he grabs an axe and goes and starts killing zombies to deal with his pain. And he like hallucinates talking on the phone to Lori for an entire episode. It's a whole waste of time. Back at Woodbury, Michonne's planning her escape. She's like, come on, Andrea, let's get out of here. But Andrea's like, hey, we don't have to escape. We can just leave anytime we want. So they're like, hey, let us out. And Merle's like, yeah, you guys aren't prisoners. You're allowed to leave. So she's like, hey, see, it's an awesome place here. Let's just stay. But Michonne doesn't trust it, so she is out of there. The governor's like, hey, sorry your friend left, but the best way to forget about her is to enter a sexual relationship with me, so they start banging. He does send a hunting party after Michonne, though, but she ambushes them first, and she takes him out, and Merle, like, chases her away. Back at the prison, the gang needs some baby food, so they go on a run to get some, and they find Merle, who's nearby. Glenn's like, oh, hey, man. Merle's like, oh, hey. And it's like, no offense, but I don't trust you at all. And it's like, yeah, you shouldn't. I'm going to take Maggie and you hostage, taking you back to Woodbury. Michonne was hiding nearby, so she saw. She walks out into the prison and is like, hey, Rick, they got your peeps over there. They want to know where the group's camp is, so Merle goes bad cop on Glenn while the governor goes good cop on Maggie, but she's still not talking, so he's like, fine, I'm going to rape you right now. And she's like, yeah, do it, see if I care. So he's like, fine, I'm going to do it. And he's like, no, that's too intense for network TV. Instead, I'm just going to put a gun to Glenn's head. And so she's like, oh yeah, we're at the prison. Luckily, the group arrives for a rescue mission. They got a smoke grenade, bust in there, do a nice extraction on Glenn and Maggie. They have to shoot their way out of the town, and Michonne finds the governor's zombie daughter, and the governor's like, please don't hurt my daughter. She's like, yo, man, it's a zombie, I'm going to kill it. And he's like, no, so they have a big fight, and she ends up stabbing him in the eye, and then she's accosted by Andrea, and it's like, oh man, she has to make a choice between her best friend and her new lover, so she lets Michonne go. The governor gets to wear a cool eye patch now, and he's captured Daryl, so he's like, yo, Merle, to prove your loyalty to me, you gotta kill your brother. But Merle's like, no man, bros for life. So they have to fight, but then the gang comes in to rescue him, and there's some argument about whether Merle gets to join the group. They decide no, because he's terrible, and Daryl's like, fine, I'm going off with my bro. Now, sadly, during the rescue mission, new T-Dog gets shot. Luckily, there's another black guy nearby. They make it into the prison. It's like, hey, what's up? My name's Tyrese. And Rick's like, Tyrese, do you mind if we call you T-Dog? But then he starts hallucinating his dead wife again, so he's like, goes crazy, kicks them all out. They're like, okay, we'll go somewhere else. They make their way to Woodbury, in fact. This other prisoner finally gets some lines, so we care when he gets shot by the governor. He drove over to the prison. He shoots up the whole place. He crashes this truck in there that's full of zombies, so the gang has to fight these zombies now. But luckily, Daryl comes in with his brother Merle, who earns his keep, and Rick's like, okay, Merle, you can stay. The governor's recruiting an army for all-out war, and Andrea's like, hey, why are you fighting the prison? They're my friends. But he's like, no, they attacked us first. So Andrea's like, Rick, why'd why'd you attack Woodbury? And he's like, no man, the governor's the bad guy. And she's like, oh, I'm sleeping with the bad guy, whoops. So Rick goes on a field trip to his old police station to get more guns, but of course they're all gone by now. They do find this heavily fortified part of town with like these zombie traps, and a guy on the roof who's shooting at them, so they get in a little fight, and Carl's gotta shoot a guy. He lives because he had a bulletproof jacket on, and it is Morgan, Rick's black friend from season 1 who saved him back in the day. He's got all the guns and stuff in his apartment, but it looks like he went sort of crazy when his son died, so Rick's like, hey man, sorry I never reached you on the walkie, but like we got a cool group now, you should join it. And he's like, honestly, I'm crazy now, just leave me here. So they do. Back home, Rick tries to negotiate with the governor. He's like, hey, let's divide the land this way, but the governor's like, nah, no negotiating, all I want is Michonne. He's like, nah, we're not gonna give up Michonne, but Merle's like, yo, I'll give up Michonne, I'll save the group. But then he's like, nah, I feel bad, I'll cut her free, and he's got a new plan. He's gonna get wasted and like drive this car back to Woodbury so he can lead all the zombies there, so while they're fighting the zombies, he can flank him and start taking out Woodbury's defenses. He's trying to snipe the governor, but this guy gets in the way, so the governor finds him and is like, yo, Merle, I'm gonna shoot you. So when Daryl arrives to find his brother, he's turned into a zombie, and even though Merle's a huge dick, it's super sad. Daryl has to stab him in the head. The governor tells Andre he's worked out a peace, but the nerdy friend confesses that the governor's gonna kill him no matter what, so she goes down to the prison, but the governor catches up with her and finds her. He takes her prisoner, and he's like, yo, nerdy friend, to prove your loyalty to me, I need you to kill Andrea. But he tries to fight the governor instead, but of course he's a loser, so he gets stabbed, and the governor's like, fine, I'll let you turn into a zombie, you can kill her that way. Now it's time for all-out war. The governor busts in there, guns blazing, but there's no one around. Because they're lying in ambush, yeah, so they have this big firefight, they like shoot around, and then finally the governor and his guys have to run away. It's like, yeah, we won the day. The governor's like, hey, why'd we all run? Let's get back there. And they're like, honestly, we're not an army, we're just civilians, like, we're done with this. So he starts shooting his own civilians, and even his loyal, like, lieutenants are like, oh man, this guy's cold, so they drive off to who knows where. The group was chasing him down, they find the massacre, and this survivor tells them what happened, so they go to Woodbury, where new T-Dog's on guard duty, and this chick's like, yo, the governor's the bad guy here, and Rick's like, yeah, sorry, I was crazy before, I'm okay now, and Tyrese is like, okay, I guess I'll join the group. Andrea almost uses some toe pliers to escape, but she's too late, so when the group finds her, she's bit, and it's like, hey, I guess you have to shoot yourself in the head, and she's like, man, I made it 3 seasons, that's not bad on this show. They bus all the remaining Woodbury people back to the prison, because it's a nice place, so they've got a bunch of new friends coming in to live, and that's how season 3 comes to an end.